Hi, I'm Philip. I'm a co-founder and CEO here at SalesWings, and I'm very excited to give you an introduction to SalesWings Interactions, which is really the easiest way to increase engagement on your website and generate more leads. Today, I will give you an overview of SalesWings Interactions and show you how you can create your first campaign. Finally, you'll be able to pick up some inspiration for high converting engagements and interactions campaigns. Now, what SalesWings Interactions really does is it gives you access to your most important channel, which really is your website. You're investing a lot of effort and resources into campaigns of any kind, such as email, online, offline events, and more. And what is really true about your website is that every single lead and future customer is visiting your website. So we'll give you the only way to be present and in front of 100% of your leads and customers. Now, the problem is that the average bounce rate on B2B website remains at around 40 to 60%. These are people arriving to your website and leaving straight away. 97% of your website visitors remain anonymous, and you'll not get the possibility to send them email or engage them in other ways. Finally, if you create a bad customer experience on your website, maybe because you're using a website personalization tool that just doesn't allow you to target properly, this really turns off website visitors in a proven manner. So SalesWings allows you to engage these website visitors in a highly relevant manner and convert them into leads. Now, SalesWings interactions, and this is really where we differ, we qualify every single website visitor based on their interests and their intent. You can score your entire traffic in multi dimensions. You can identify specific interests. You can pull in data from Salesforce and other sources. You can track abandonment and other engagements, such as campaign engagement. And then, based on these highly targeted audiences, you can engage them with truly relevant content to convert them into MQLs and future loyal customers. And web interactions that are really targeted are so successful. We see average conversion rates on web engagements of almost 5%. We see conversion rates of up to 10% on personalized and highly targeted interactions. And to give you another example, when you trigger an engagement based on a click, we see conversions of up to 30% of such website content and interactions. Now, there's many ways you can leverage interactions. You can increase session length. You can reduce bounce rates on low performing pages. You can embed forms and quizzes and other things to generate leads and convert more leads from your website. If you pull in information from your CRM or your data warehouse and other sources, you can really target key personas or ICPs, hyper targeting accounts, decision makers with very, very relevant information. And the sky is really the limit. So why not embed an AI chatbot that you've built, Agentforce, or another application to, just take your creativity one step further. Now, I wanted to show you now how you can set everything up. Within Falcon, you will see two new windows. You're going to have the engagement pop-up section to create your assets, and you have the campaign section where you can create your audiences and launch your campaigns. Furthermore, you're going to have an analytics section where you can gain access to all your statistics. But let's get started with a engagement pop-up. Here, first of all, you're going to click on Add New Pop-up, and you can give this a specific name. We're going to push a video about our toolbox. Make sure you describe your pop-up and asset as well. This is important for future AI applications, but also for your colleagues to understand what this asset is all about. When you click on Build, you're going to enter a visual editor where it's really easy for marketers to create highly beautiful campaigns without any reliance on IT or technical team members. On the left-hand side, you have the various content blocks that you can pull in, such as title, images, HTML or videos. Here you're going to see the various rows, which allow you to create the layout of your pop-up and structure the format of the asset. At the top, we have some other elements, such as a general background color. You can change the position of your pop-up. You can find a general width for desktop and mobile, and more. First of all, you want to make sure that every piece of content, for example, an image or text, is in its own row. This gives you a lot more control for every section, how you want to fine tune it and define it. My pop-up is going to have 5 rows. First, I'm going to add the various pieces of content. At the top, I have an image. Then I'm going to add a title. Then another image. As highlighted, we're going to embed a video. And at the bottom, I want to make sure I have a great call to action. From here, you can then configure the various elements of your pop-up. You can see on the left-hand side how everything is changing. First of all, I'm going to add the video URL. You can simply add a YouTube URL, or you could also host a video. Then I'm going to insert an image. When I click on Browse, I have access to my image library. From here, you can upload your images, and you can also organize them in folders. Alternatively, you can simply drag them in from your desktop. I have a second image here as well, which I'm going to bring in. And I'm going to add a title so the visitor understands what this video is all about. Then we have the call to action. We want them, of course, to schedule a demo. Now, again, when you click on an asset or you click on a section, you can fine tune it. You have a lot of ways to make it look just like you want. This image, I want to make quite a bit smaller, and I want to add some padding. Here, I want to change the color, firstly. I don't want this bold, and I want to use another font. I'm also going to add some padding, which in general is good practice to make the content look a little bit lighter. This one here as well, going to make it smaller. And the button needs a other color as well. And of course, we want to make that bigger. And we want to add the link for the call to action. When you add links to your content and pop-ups, make sure you add UTM parameters so you can track engagement and report on that with SalesWings inside Salesforce as well as in other systems. What is very important is that you always preview your pop-ups. You can do this straight inside SalesWings interactions. Here you can see how your pop-up is going to look on various screen sizes. You can see that my pop-up is a little bit large, so I'm going to go back and make the various sections a little bit smaller. I'm going to have a look again and can see that now even for small screens, it's going to look just fine. Now let's save the pop-up and close it. Next, let's create a campaign and set it live. In the campaign section, you can create new campaigns. First, you want to give it a name. This is my toolbox video push. Make sure to also add a description for your colleagues, but also for future AI applications. From here, you can then select the pop-up that you want to show or the banner, and you can also preview it to make sure it looks just the way you want. Every pop-up can of course be closed by a visitor without engagement, so we got a few settings for this. The snooze period defines how many days a pop-up will not be shown after the visitor closes it. The engagement limit defines how many times a pop-up can be shown the most amount of times. The engagement delay makes sure that a website visitor will not be shown a campaign at least X amount of seconds. This is the amount of time they spend on your website across the entire session. Finally, you're going to be able to define a priority, which is a really interesting setting. Let's imagine your website visitor qualifies for 3 campaigns on the same page. In this case, SalesWings will always show the campaign that has the highest priority. When you have multiple campaigns with the same priority, SalesWings will always show the highest converting campaign. We recommend that you set higher priorities for bottom of the funnel campaigns. For example, when a lead is sales ready, they have a high lead score, you want them to schedule a demo. This is really important, so that should have a priority 1. Top of the funnel campaigns, such as simple newsletter sign-ups or else, should have a lower priority in this particular case. Below, you can then define the audience through conditions and criteria, and you can also define where this particular campaign can be shown. SalesWings allows you to hyper-target your engagements. You have access to all your SalesWings data to make sure you're ultra relevant and create high converting campaigns. First of all, you may want to embed your campaign into a broader campaign. Here you can then define, well, we want to make sure they have already engaged with a particular campaign linked to Toolbox. You can, of course, include additional channels. You could also look at the refer, so external websites and else. Next, you can select your SalesWings insights, your first-party intent, and target them based on what they truly want. Here, we're going to make sure that only people see it who have priorly shown engagement in this product. We could then add more granularity and say, well, we also want to make sure they have already seen our prices. Let me give you another example. You can now select your lead scores. For instance, I want to make sure this is only shown to enterprise leads who have a specific score. Finally, if you send additional data to our API, or you send us data from Salesforce or your data warehouse, you can target website visitors based on ICP and personas. In this case, I want to only show this campaign to tier 1 accounts. Furthermore, let's imagine I want to target specific industries. I can then select the industry attribute, which is, again, in our case, data from Salesforce. FinServ, manufacturing, automotive. The sky's the limit. You can really target your website visitors extremely well, making sure you create a great customer experience and have high conversions across the board. Finally, I want to define where this campaign can be shown. You can show the campaign anywhere, or you could only show it on specific pages. You have also the ability to select additional metrics. For example, you can show it based on a campaign engagement. So as soon as they arrive on the website, they would be seeing this particular campaign. Finally, we're going to set the campaign live and save it. Over time, you're going to run a few campaigns, and therefore we give you analytics. In the analytics section, you're going to get analytics around your campaigns, but also your individual assets. You can define for what period you want to see campaign metrics. In this area, I'm seeing the various campaigns, how many times it was shown to a visitor, and I have abandonment and conversion rates. When you embed forms, a form submission will be a conversion rate. This could be a Sales Cloud form, it could be a Marketing Cloud or Braze form, or any other form that you have. If you include buttons and CTAs with clicks, every click will be counted as a conversion. Abandonment shows you the amount of times a pop-up was closed by the visitor. There are many ways that you can be creative without relying on IT. With SalesWings interactions, you can grow subscribers at the top of the funnel, you could convert more website visitors into MQLs, or you can extend seasonal wishes and do, push news or other seasonal campaigns. You can also support broader campaigns around cross-selling or product or events. Really anything that matters, SalesWings interactions helps you reach your goals. We're very excited about bringing interactions to you. Get started today and talk to our team, and we'd be more than happy to show it to you in more detail and get you set up.